Hi there, and welcome to the Rangers Rabble match reaction from the St Johnstone Rangers game. Welcome tonight is Ross and Wilf. Hi guys.
How you doing? All right.
Hi, not
Maybe
bad
so.
yourself. So we'll start off with the game tonight with the changes of the team. First of all, what did you think of the lineup? I'll go to
I
you, Ross.
was sorry.
I was a bit surprised, mate. I thought maybe three or four changes. I didn't think he would have went wholesale. I think we've got a team where we've got a spare peg for every hole, but when you start taking seven out and bringing in guys, it's good. It got Taver on it. It got Simpson on it. McLaughlin obviously looked sharp. It was a worthwhile exercise, but I didn't think we'd have changed it that much.
What about yourself, Wilf?
No, I was astounded there were 7 changes. I thought there might be, like Ross, I thought there would be 4, possibly 5. But no, I couldn't believe he made wholesale changes. But we nearly got away with it.
I just thought he made a good few changes, but I thought one of the players that maybe should have rested was Stephen Davis, just considering the amount of football he's played and the age it is, just to keep him fresh for the up and coming rest of the season, So that was my only concern. What do you think of Jack Simpson? I think he done, Wolf.
I think Jack Simpson did okay. He grew into the game. He started off a bit shaky, but then we didn't turn up for the first 15 minutes. St Johnstone probably should have been a couple of goals up before we even sort of woke up to the game. I thought Simpson did okay. He looked quite composed on the ball.
Yes, you go. Keep going, Wolf.
So it worries me a little bit because if we're playing somebody that are playing a bit more intensity than St Johnstone, where he might get caught on the ball, but can't really judge him on. As one of the boys said in the group chat during the game, can't really judge him on what we've seen of him tonight. But he looked steady enough.
He did. I thought he done actually quite well. And Ross, what do you think about Tavernier coming back? How do you think he played?
Rusty. I thought he looked rusty. His delivery was a bit off, but that's going to happen when you've missed 10 games of football and you're coming in at that pace. I thought it's good to see him back for a start off at the first. You were wondering whether he would maybe miss out on the rest of the season and let him get fit for pre-season, but it was good to see him back out there. And it was also good, obviously, I don't know if he'll come on to it, but seeing Patterson and Bassey both being available still tonight. We don't know what's happened there, but it was good to get Bassey on it on the other side as well.
I thought it was. I think you said earlier. I think Gerrard was just giving everybody a kind of run at tonight. I think he wanted not to get beat, but I think he just wanted to give everybody a game. Do you know what I mean? I just think he was trying to give everybody a game, keep everybody fresh for the cup game at the weekend. And talking about the game now, as you said, Wolf, it was a slow start, and we never really got into the game until probably about 25, 30 minutes into the game. Then we started creating anything. St Johnstone started, I thought, quite well, quite compact. They didn't really let us get anything. But the 2 talking points of the first half are the penalties. What did you think, Ross?
Oh, what penalties? What ones are we talking about here? There was a few.
The first one came from when Jack Simpson stuck his leg out and then didn't remove it. And I think it was Stevie Maitland down. And the next one came from it got right in the hand. And the referee gave a penalty and then overturned it.
Right, were they no second half? Am I confusing myself? I thought they were second half. Anyway, I thought that the Scott Wright one is one of the ones that at the start of VAR they would have pulled it back and gave. But you see it bounces up, it comes off a Golson's head. He's not made his body bigger. I didn't think it was a penalty. What I would say is I thought the referee was abysmal for both teams tonight. Some of his decision making, and see when Scottish referees go through that wee phase where they book one person, so the next 4 tackles, no matter how severe they are, everybody gets booked to the end. He doesn't book somebody for a shocker. I thought we went through that wee phase with the rest of the game, but he was always going to give St Johnstone a penalty after he'd gave one and then overturned it. Don't really know what happened there. I didn't think any of the 2 incidents that happened in that pasture play were a penalty with a handball, and then I thought Big Rooney spun in and made the most of the second one, and with Barisic behind him as well.
What about yourself, Wolf?
No, I think Ross is spot on there. I mean, I don't think the one that he gave and then didn't give was more of a penalty than the one he gave in the 94th minute, and I don't think the one that he rescinded for himself was a penalty in the first place. I just, as Ross was saying, I mean, Mr. Anderson had an absolute shocker tonight. I mean, he was dreadful for both teams. I mean, he was throwing cards about like confetti for next to nothing. I mean, if he was being consistent, you know, he would have sent somebody off, because he was booking folk for things that he was letting other people off with. It was just a typical Scottish referee. Really, really poor.
I thought he wasn't great at all. I thought he let the big boy Rooney away with quite a lot. I mean, he's quite an aggressive big player, but I thought he get booked, and then he was arguing with folk, he was annoying people, he was pushing people, and he seemed to get away with murder. I don't know if it was just me, but I thought he got away with quite a lot. And he booked Kemar for something, because I tussle between the two of them, but he walks away. I didn't think he was great at all, but as you say, it's a usual Scottish referee. And then going about Scott Wright tonight, I know everybody's been looking for Scott Wright to play some games recently, because quite a lot of the fans like him since they've signed on for Aberdeen. What do you think of performance tonight, Ross, and how well do you think he took his goal?
I think Scott Wright's definitely going to be a big player for us next year. As Gerard said, he's brought him in, he's bulked him up. You can see he's considerably bigger and more confident across the shoulders, holding players off. He's tricky, isn't he? He's good, he's intelligent. I'd like to see him with Kent and Buff, just to have that. They're the two live wires up front, you know what I mean? See for Wright feeding off and playing ball. I thought Big Itten was good tonight, but he's a different player to Buffy, doesn't he? Whereas if Buff's playing, Wright can play the ball into him, Buff will hold it off and let Wright run beyond. I felt as if Itten was letting everything run out wide and holding it up out there. So in answer to your question, with it going the long way around, I thought he was really good again. But I think that the better the players he plays alongside, the better he'll be.
To me, he was our best player before he went off. About yourself, Wilf, what do you think he played like?
No, I think he was. I mean, Andy Little on Rangers TV gave him the man of the match, and I think he was right to do so. I mean, I thought he played really well in the sort of hour or so he was on the park. He took his goal really, really well. But as Scott was saying there as well, I mean, with our better players, if you like, round about, I think he'll do really well. I mean, Big Itten had a decent game tonight, but I think he still struggles with the pace of Scottish football. I think it looked like, particularly first half, that he was struggling to kind of get a grip of the game, you know. But I mean, overall, I thought he played quite well. But when you go, Scott.
I was going to say, somebody's made a comment on the board. Rangers Rabble said, did Gerard make too many changes tonight, and does it matter? What do you think of that, Wilf?
As I said at the start, I think he made more changes than I was expecting, but really it doesn't matter. I mean, I'm sitting here pissed off because we've dropped 2 points to St Johnstone. But I mean, in case you didn't know, we won the league 5 weeks ago. You know what I mean? So it doesn't really matter. I mean, we weren't particularly good tonight until we made the double substitution with 15-20 minutes to go. And we still managed to, you know, not get to stay unbeaten. So I mean, that augurs well for Sunday, because Sunday's a lot more important than tonight was. And I don't know, you know, how many changes St Johnstone made. I don't know whether that's anything like the team they'll play on Sunday. But if it is, when we bring in, because we'll bring back the likes of, you know, Morelos will come back in, you know, Kent will come back in. You know, I would expect Helena to come back in, McGregor will come back in. So we'll be much, much stronger on Sunday. I don't know if they will be. I don't know if they can be. So I mean, it was a worthwhile exercise tonight to get game time for guys that haven't had a lot of game time.
Yeah,
just disappointing not to win the game.
It was disappointing tonight, Ross. Do you think we were playing a 4-3-3 tonight? I think it was more like a 4-1-2-3 or a 4-1 or 4-1 like 3 or 4-1-4-1 or something, because Davis seemed to be sitting dead deep.
It looked to me as if we were kind of playing 4-1-4-1 in a kind of weird sense that Davis sat. But I think if they had put more pressure on us, Kemar would have sat in the 4-2-3-1. But I think Kemar was getting a wee bit more rain to go forward. But I think, as we're saying, you're bringing in boys that have not played any real first team football for months. So our players going to be tuned on to their position and stuff. I think the day sometimes it looked like people that hadn't played together in an 11, and people who maybe hadn't played much first team football altogether. Do you know what I mean? A wee bit disjointed and stuff. So I don't know what the formation was meant to be, Scott, to be honest, but I think that people were maybe playing away for it wasn't as what do you call me? Aye, that word.
It wasn't as fluid as it usually is.
It wasn't as, it was a bit disjointed. It wasn't as jointed as it usually is. So I couldn't get that word out there.
It was very evident that team hasn't played together before.
Yeah,
you know, it was. I mean, very, very evident. There was a lot of guys there that were quite ring rusty, and that they'd never played together as an 11. But they certainly grew into the game, and as I say, when he brought on Arfield Narebo, we looked an awful lot better.
I thought tonight, even against Celtic, at some points I thought we're lacking a moment for the fullback position. I know Nathan Pattersman been playing well since being on the side, but I thought Barisic's delivery and distribution has been poor the last few weeks. And I don't know if he's going to be there next season. Do you think that's a position we should be upgrading on for next season, Wilf?
Yes, I think we really need to, if depending on what happens with the COVID appeal, we really need to be giving Calvin Bassey as much game time as we can. Because I'm like you, I don't expect Barisic to be there next season, because I think if he goes to the Euros and does well for Croatia, we'll get lots of big offers for him.
Yep.
And with the business model, we have to sell somebody. And I mean, the reports around the press are that Kerr and Morelos have both said they're happy to stay, which I'm delighted about, because I think they'd be more difficult to replace than Barisic. But so yeah, I think we definitely need to strengthen, because we'll need to bring in another left back, because I really don't see him being there next season.
Yeah. And our front three, Ross, David started with Wright, Roofe and Itten. It didn't look, apart from Scott Wright, who was full of energy, he was trying to get involved in the game. He always looked like he could maybe create something or do something. I thought Roofe wasn't sure where he was playing, and Itten was the same. I mean, was it just me thinking that, or did you think the same, Ross?
I think Roofe is a striker and a 2. I don't think he fits. I said the other day, I don't think he fits the way we play, to be quite honest with you. I think, as Wolf's saying there, if our model is to buy people and sell them on for profit, what did we get Roofe for? 4 million or something? I think with his goals in Europe and some of the highlight reel stuff he's done this year, he's maybe one of the ones that I wouldn't be too upset if we lost, because I think we've got other players who can play in off. Morelos is going to play up top, and even at that, I don't know if when Roofe plays up through the middle, he gives you the same as Buff anyway. So he's one of the he's got some lovely touches, but I feel as if sometimes he just doesn't fit what we're looking for in a player.
No, I can agree with you. I like Kemar Roofe as well, and like you said, he's done a lot of stuff, especially in Europe, probably been his better games for us. As in Cedric Atan, you don't really know what to expect, because he's not played a lot of football this season, and he's looked good probably in Europe more than he has in the league as well. But coming back to tonight's game now, we get second half to me was kind of a dead rubber. It was not a lot involved. Rangers were just made a lot of changes. They brought in Aribo, who looked quite good in flashes. Arfield does what he usually does. But then obviously, do you think this 1-1 draw was going to matter to Gerrard, or do you think he wanted to win? But Wilf,
I think he wanted. I think he wanted to win, because he's. Oh, sorry, I'll leave. I don't think he wanted to lose.
Right.
No, I don't. He didn't look too upset at the final whistle with the draw. You know, as we sort of wry smile at their manager when the final whistle went. I mean, the late penalty was an absolute sickener, because we did enough to win the game. But having said that, St Johnstone didn't really deserve to lose the game. I know that's sort of contradicting myself, but you know, we basically took the chance that we had. They didn't make a lot of chances, but early on they could have been a couple of goals up. So a draw was probably about right. But I mean, the grand scheme of things, we won the league in March, so it doesn't really matter if we lost tonight. You know, although, I mean, when we closed the league off, everybody's going on about staying unbeaten. I really didn't care. But now I do care, because we're only 3 games away from an unbeaten league season.
Yeah, I know.
Which is going to be phenomenal. But I would give up the unbeaten league season to go on and win the cup. So if dropping 2 points tonight, or even if we'd got beat tonight, resulted in us winning on Sunday, I'd be happy with that, because Sunday's the one that matters to me.
Yep.
And talk about Sunday, Ross. I've got a comment on the screen for Aldo McNaught. He says, "Do you think the result will give St Johnstone a hope for Sunday?"
Obviously, I know a lot of people from up Perth and obviously speak to Xander on the daily, and I know that they've been out and won a cup this year. Do you know what I mean? They've been there and done it, and they've felt that they tasted that success. So I don't think this result will really alter that. They know if they come and play at their best and we don't play at our best, they're always going to have a chance against us. Do you know what I mean? I don't think this team, as I said earlier on, they were playing against a Rangers mixed. It was a training team. Do you know what I mean? It was half first teamers and half people, maybe square pegs and round holes and stuff. I don't think the night will have any bearing on it, but I do know that they'll fancy their chances in a one-off game against us, having already won a cup this year.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think St Johnstone, Callum Davidson made them very difficult to beat. They set their stall out well with 3 guys at the back. They've got 2 full-backs that push up. Liam Craig sits in the middle and just covers a lot of ground, and they've got boys out front who can run. So they might not be the best footballers, but they're hard to beat and they play decent football. So it's going to be really difficult. So obviously, at the end of the game, they get the penalty there, and we've spoke about the penalties. I spoke about them probably too quickly. So we'll just going over the game. Ross, do you think we'll improve for the next couple of league games we play? Not talking about Sunday's game in the cup, but the league games. Do you think we'll still experiment in the formation? Or do you think we'll go back to his normal starters?
It's going to depend, innit? If we win on Sunday, which we would hope we would, then the next league game could again be a game to give folk game time to rest up boys for the semis. I don't know. I don't know if he'll make 7 changes again, because I think we look really disjointed. Do you know what I mean? And it could affect players' confidence. I think playing that way sometimes.
Right.
So,
what about you, Wilf?
I think if he's going to make an amount of changes again in a league game, the only one he'll do it is Livingston, because obviously the game against that mob takes care of itself, and he's not going to want to mess up the trophy presentation day with with going out with an understrength team. And also on that day against Aberdeen, to be perfectly honest with you, the guys that have played most in the team were almost steady 11. They deserve to be on the park to start the game the day we get the trophy, for me. So I think if he is going to make wholesale changes, it's going to be at Livingston, which I would expect anyway, because I mean, say the league's done. That pitch they've got is horrendous. So I'd have no problem when putting the youth team out against Livingston, just to protect people.
Yeah, I know. And obviously, if you're going to the cup final, you want to rest players for that as well, don't you? Just so they're fresh for a cup final. But do you think there's a chance, Ross, that John McLaughlin might stay in for for the weekend?
No chance. No, I don't think so. I know cup competitions, teams swap their goalies. I think once it gets to the nitty gritty, obviously Xander himself sat out last week. I would imagine he'll come back into the team. Once you get to quarterfinals, you're playing your strongest team in it. Yeah, but both teams have obviously, as I said, had a touch of silverware this year and won stuff. Then you want that feeling to continue. So I think both teams will play to their strongest. What Wilf said earlier, for me, the night, that's a strong team for St Johnstone. That's probably their strongest. But come the weekend, there's every chance. The last couple of rounds, they've brought in Conway and the boy Bryson have started some games. But Murray Davidson's a big miss for them as well. We see when he's not playing, I don't feel as if he gives them a right good bit of grit in the middle. But as you say, that they'll come on Sunday, they'll be hard to beat. The 3 young centre halves have got quality. As I say, I watched them a lot, and if we're not on our game, they could just as easily in a 1.5 game put egg in my faces. Do you know what I mean?
And talk about a game at the weekend. Well, do you think anybody from the night's team that started will feature on Sunday starting, or Saturday or Sunday starting? I can't remember if it's Saturday or Sunday.
It's Sunday at 6:30.
There you go.
Of all ridiculous kick-off time, horrible kick-off time, and that's even for watching it in the house. But I think Scott Wright's not done himself any harm. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't complain if he started the game, but I would expect us to be more or less full strength on Sunday. And use it. It's my usual Ibrox. Use the full width of the whole big pitch. Totally different ball game to tonight. I mean, that pitch tonight looked absolutely horrendous. I mean, it looked quite bobbly. The ball was sticking in it. It just didn't seem a good surface at all. I mean, the surface at Ibrox isn't wonderful, but I think it's better than that. More conducive to the way we play.
Yep.
And I'd certainly look at playing Scott Wright on Sunday just to get the ball in behind their fullbacks.
We've got a comment here from the Tartan game. I don't know if he's having a laugh or what, but he said Atten's time is gone and he's not good enough. What do you think of that, Ross?
The Tartan gamer's at the bam up, mate. He's at the bam up. You see his other comment there, Morelos. I know. So it's either Shanklin's agent, Shanklin's dad, or a Tim at the bam up. That is. No, Atten, I remember I've spoken about this on the pod before. It's why I'm glad that there's been no fans in this season, because see players like Atten, young guys coming to a foreign country, he's in a pandemic, he can't go out and mix with his teammates, he's living in a house with his bird. See, 2 years ago, you would have sold Barisic for £1 million to try and recoup some of your money. Now we're talking about him going to the Euros and making us a ton. Takes people time to settle, do you know what I mean? It's not an easy time for me or Wilf now, never mind being a young guy coming in our country and trying to pick up games. He's struggling for game time as well with the firepower we've got. So I definitely wouldn't write him off, and I definitely don't think Lawrence Shanklin's of the standard that Rangers require now. Maybe when we were doing the leagues, but definitely not now.
No, the lack of game time, as Ross says, definitely isn't helping guys like Cedric. I mean, there's been next to no B team football because of the pandemic. These guys aren't even playing at all. If they're not getting in the first team, they're not playing at all. There's been no other football for them. So, I mean, it's no surprise that guys like it are struggling to find a bit of form, because they can train as much as they want, but they're not getting any competitive football at all.
No, I know.
So I certainly wouldn't write any new signing off any time yet.
It's difficult. You say you're not playing games, you're training, but training's not giving you game time. You're not up to the standard with the rest of the first team, and then when you do come in, you can sometimes struggle into a team who's playing really well. Do you know what I mean? So I think he deserves at least another season before you make any judgment on the guy, especially as Ross said as well. It's been a difficult season this season without the fans there. And I know sometimes, as you know yourself, Rangers fans can be worse than anybody, especially on the players back after a couple of minutes if someone makes a mistake. So with the fans know there's maybe help some of them, but some of them, like the fans being there, they like the passion, they like the sound, even the criticism. Some of them don't mind that because it gees them up to do more. And I thought about guys next season. What about Yanis Hadji? And he was very quiet tonight, Yanis. I'm a big fan of Yanis Hadji. I think he's got a lot of talent and a lot of ability. But I thought tonight he was very quiet. What do you think, Wilf?
He was. It wasn't one of his better games, but he wasn't really getting a lot of the ball either. I mean, it was, every time he got it, he was getting crowded out. I mean, again, you can't really read a lot into the way we played tonight, because it was a sort of mix and match team. As Ross said, it was a bit like a training team, and we didn't play well, but we didn't get beat. So that's really all we can take from it tonight.
So Ross, do you think Yanis is one to come in for Sunday? Or do you think he'll be the one that's sitting on the bench?
I don't know. I think going against St Johnstone, I think you'll have the front three that played against Celtic: Morelos, Aribo. I don't know. I'm back to this 4-2-3-1 again. I don't know if Hadji slots in rather than Arfield to unlock a packed defence, because there's not going to be space to run in behind. Do you play Hadji in there and have Kent and Aribo running in when Buff comes out to try and make space? I don't know. I don't know. But listen, it's a good problem to have, isn't it? He's a top quality player. I like him. I like him for unlocking a tight defence, I must say, because he's got that, as I say all the time, the old swanky hips with the right way, left way, and can strike with both feet. Do you know what I mean? So he's
there's been a lot of games this season he's actually saved us, because we've been struggling and he's appeared with a goal or he's created something. And like you say, he's very skillful. He can go either side, he can use either foot. See, if he had pace, he probably wouldn't beat Rangers, because that's the only thing he lacks, is a bit of pace. If he had good pace, he'd probably be playing somewhere a higher league, because he has got the ability. So he has.
I think for him and all, it's obviously this week it's an off the park thing, but see the likes of him getting the face of Pepsi in Romania and stuff like that. That's all they know brand in all these countries massive. Do you know what I mean? Who's this wee guy on my tin of coke? Oh, it's he plays for Rangers and stuff. Do you know what I mean? So it's you've got an under 21s superstar. Do you know what I mean? Really global, who's well known through his dad and is starting to make a reputation for himself with his performances.
I think you're right. I think people forget, Hadji. They go, obviously remember his dad more than remember him, but, well, people my age do anyway, but they're going about his experiences, but he's still a young boy. He's still got a lot to learn. He's not been in Glasgow that long, if you think about it.
No.
So he's got years of service he could give us. Obviously, we don't want him to sell him, but if somebody come with a good offer, you'd have to think about it like any of the players. Do you know what I mean? But I think he's, at the moment in time, he's probably behind Aribo for a game. I think if Aribo plays in, Hadji doesn't, because I think he probably goes with Davis and probably Kemar as the other one in midfield, joint Wilf.
Well, see, I would slightly disagree with that, because I prefer Aribo playing in the front three rather than playing in the midfield.
So they are.
You know, but you know, I mean, I was surprised when Aribo came on that Hadji didn't drop back and Aribo went forward. Tonight. I that's what I expected to happen, and it didn't happen. And that's, you know, and as I say, we nearly got away with it. But I much prefer Aribo in the front three, because although he tracked back a bit tonight, his tracking back's not all it could be. I don't really want to criticise the guy, but he's not all he could be. So I would rather have Hadji in the midfield than Aribo up one. But if Arfield's playing, one of them has to miss out.
Yeah.
And I would always, if I could, I would always play Arfield in a game that's going to be quite physical. And going by the way tonight went, Sunday's going to be quite physical, so I'd have got Arfield in the middle of that part. You know, because you really have to, because you don't have Ryan Jack in there.
Yeah.
Obviously because he's out for the season. So I mean, my midfield three on Sunday would be Kamara, Davis, and Arfield, which means one of Hadji or Aribo has to miss out.
I think it'll be Hadji that misses out after Aribo's performance the weekend.
Aye.
Yeah, I think so.
Plus, he won his game the last couple of weeks, Joe, so he's been doing really well. So he has, so you can't really take him out, especially when his confidence is high and he's been playing well. It's different when you're not playing well, but he's been playing well, so you keep him in the side. But talking about the game after the game on Sunday, do you think he'll keep Tara? Do you think he'll go back to Patterson? What do you think, Ross?
I would play Patterson. There you go.
I don't think he'll get the chance to, because I still think he'll get suspended.
I don't know much. If that hearing was yesterday, the boy Kinnear was on the bench for Annan, and then we've got the boys playing the night. So is this a 3-day trial? OJ Simpson's trial never lasted that long.
Maybe all I can think of is that they've made the decision, but they didn't announce it last night, and then obviously the lad was on the bench. So Rangers would, if they turned around today and said, "Look, the guys are suspended," they'll say, "Well, how come he got to play last night?" You know, so they may be holding the decision. I don't know. I'm trying to second guess the SFA.
Yeah, playing devil's advocate here.
It's crazy.
I'd like to think that we went in lawyer-handed and said, "Hold on a minute, what happened with all these other discrepancies? Why are everybody else's? The Aberdeen ones got suspended bans that they never served any games. The Dubai debacle. I don't understand why we would get players banned. See if you go and lawyered up and say that's like somebody killing somebody and somebody killing somebody, and then saying that you're getting to jail, but you're no. Do you know what I mean? Dubai went unpunished, totally unpunished.
I know what you're saying, but I'd be astounded if they turned around and went, okay, no bans, no from four with 2 suspended to none at all. I'd be very, very surprised at that.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you're right, but I'd be very surprised.
I'm the same. I think they're going to get a ban, but I'm not sure when, because they know in the league now is finished. They're not to play for the league, so they know if they hold it off or the ban is now, it's not going to change anything. So it wouldn't surprise me if they made the bans at the start of next season.
I can't see any way they could do that. I mean, we're banning you, but only when it matters. It's got to be the next amount of games.
I think I say that myself, but why wait so long then?
Well, that's what I don't understand. I really don't know.
I think it's the day with Patterson going to the Euros.
Could be.
Justify their own needs.
Yeah.
and ban him later.
No, if you ban Patterson for 6 games the now, does that take him into the Euros? Because the way he's playing, for me, he's the best Scottish right back. I made a point on here a couple of weeks ago to say the boy Rooney at St Johnstone could possibly play right back for Scotland, but he shaved his hair. I know his talent must have been in his hair because he's been ranked since. But Patterson, in all seriousness, Patterson's the best form Scottish right back. So did he? I don't know. Does it suit Scotland for Patterson not to get banned?
It does, aye. I mean, it doesn't really matter how many games you play for Rangers or what age is. He's good enough. And if you're old enough, you're good enough. If you're good enough, you're old enough, I should say. So, and I would take a Stevie Clark should take him at Euros. I'm not a big fan of international football or Scotland by any means, but I would be really happy for the boy if he get picked to go Euros. Cause it's a big, massive experience for him, and it would help him with us at the end of the day. And he should go because might not start, but he should be part of that squad. Because like Ross said, there's not anybody. I can't think any Scottish fullback it's up near him. I know you talk about Stephen O'Donnell, but Stephen O'Donnell's got these limitations. Patterson's got a ceiling and he's going to race stage. Do you know what I mean? He's only a young boy as well, so he's going to get better.
The manager said it himself at the week. Was it was at the weekend? If there's a better right back and Scottish right back, can you show me him, please? Because I don't think there is one. I really don't. I mean, the very fact that before the Old Firm Cup game on Sunday, they were spitting feathers because Patterson wasn't suspended because they were petrified that he was going to be playing. Yeah. I mean, he's a 19-year-old laddie. It was his second Old Firm game, and they were shiting themselves, and justifiably because the boy had a great game. So, but I don't know what's happening with that ban. But I still think they'll get banned. I don't think it'll. I think they might reduce it a little bit. But I can't see, as you said, Ross, I can't see why they didn't make a decision yesterday.
We've got a comment here from Andy D. Fair to say, I have no confidence in Tavernier, which is quite harsh, to be fair. I was so relieved to see him took off early. Roofe was utter garbage. Now, I think that's a bit harsh on Tav. He's just come back from an injury. And before his injury, he's probably one of our best players this season. So I thought it was quite harsh.
I'm hoping that he's meaning that as in he had no confidence in him not to get hurt again. I'm hoping that's what he's meaning. So it was good to get Matt Fellish, surely.
Well, I mean, he was coming back after a 9 or 10 game layoff to play with a centre back beside a centre back he's not played with before.
Yeah.
And Jack Simpson. So, you know, he was kind of obviously watching his fitness and, you know, keeping an eye on what Simpson was doing, I would have thought. So I think if Tav started on Sunday and we had our normal defence, and I would have no qualms at all about him being there.
I mean, I think the reason Davis maybe so deep as well was because Tav is back and he wasn't bombing up and down the line as much. And if he did go forward, then Davis was slotting in behind him just to cover, just in case he couldn't get back, because you don't want him to get an injury when he's just back. Do you know what I mean? So, but we've got Fog Dog said that he said Tav should come on as a stop instead of starting. What do you think of that, Wilf?
That's what I expected. I expected Patterson to get the first hour and then Tav to come on. Not the other way around. But I mean, I'm not the manager. So, and to be fair, Tav got a good hour, and I mean, at least doing it the way they did it, they can decide how much game time he gets. Yep. You know, they might have said you get the first half, and then at half time he's like, I feel okay, give me 15 minutes. But if you only bring him on for half an hour, then you're only giving him half an hour. So, you know, he maybe got a bit longer than they were expecting to give him. But I was surprised that Patterson didn't start. To be fair, it was a bit unlucky. He was a bit unlucky not to start as well, because he played really well at the weekend. So.
And I know he did. I did. And also, there's a comment for you, Ross, from Barry Leo. Roofe's not a player for me. I know you were quite fine me, but you also said since he done that challenge against Prague, he's not been the same. So, what do you think of that?
Roofe, in no uncertain circumstances, Roofe is a player. I just don't know if he fits into your system and if he's made for the rough and tumble of the way. As I say, I think he plays up front in a two. I think generally when he played with Leeds, he played up front in a two, or with somebody floating in behind him. We're asking him to hold the ball up, or we're playing him as a kind of inside forward, if you like, cutting in for wings. I don't think that's his game. I think he's a kind of penalty box striker. He's definitely a player, but as I say, I don't know if he offers us what we're looking for.
So I kind of agree with you. I think when he was at Leeds, I remember him at Leeds and he kind of played that way. Just hung about a 16-yard box, 18-yard box, whatever. And he was always just closing things down, create half a chance, we put it away. With Rangers, we've got him out in the wings, we've got him dragging back, and I don't think the injuries he's had in the past, I don't think he can do the games constantly. So I think that's maybe how he doesn't play as much, or like you say, he doesn't fit into our system because he's not that type of player.
I think he needs a run of games. He's one of these players that needs to be playing regularly.
Yep.
And he's only floating in and out of games and getting a wee bit here and a wee bit there. That's not going to suit the way he plays either. But I think he's right. I don't think he is suited particularly to our system. But for the deal we got on him, you couldn't really say no. I don't know how much we're paying him, but for what we signed him for, you can't really say no because you're not going to lose money on that.
No,
you're not going to lose any money on him because even Ross mentioned it earlier, his stuff in the Europa League, you're going to get that money back anyway. So you're not going to get a loss on him because there's going to be teams abroad or even teams in England that'll take a punt on him because they've obviously got more money to spend than we have, so they'll just take a punt on him. I don't know what his wages is, but somebody will. But I think he'll be here. I think it might be still here next season. Seems to be enjoying it in Glasgow, and
yep.
I mean, he's a goal scorer at the end of the day, and if we can create chances for him, we'll put him away. But it's just we seem to kind of stuck with this formation of 4-3-3, quite rigid with it. So. But it just depends because if he brings another player in the summer, he might have to change it slightly. Do you know what I mean? I know he changes it sometimes, but he might have to change it slightly.
I don't think Roofe will be here if Defoe stays. I don't think we can justify having both of them. So, and I don't know what Defoe's plans are, obviously, but I think personally, I think if Defoe stays, Roofe will go. But if Defoe goes, there's a good chance Roofe might stay.
I remember watching Roofe playing for Leeds and wanting us to sign him. Scores spectacular goals, but I wish we could find a way to accommodate him. But how can you change a formation that's worked for your season? Do you know what I mean? I feel as if Kent's not playing on the left, you can stick a Rebo out there. You'll be able to stick Scott Wright out there. You can play. We've got somebody that can cover that and do a similar job. Hadji, even if you need to, could be the two-footedness. But if Buff's not playing up front and you play Roofe as your line leader, it doesn't replace what Buff gives you. Do you know what I mean? And I feel as if that's the problem we've got. If we need the replacement for Morelos to be somebody who can take Roofe's a different type of player. Don't get as I say, I think he's a great player. I wanted us to sign him, but I just don't. I don't think we suit him, and I don't think he suits us. I'd love to be proved wrong next season, to be honest. I'd love him still to be here. He's into double figures. Is it 14 or 15 goals he scored, which isn't too bad for a season. But I think if somebody came and offered you double figures for him after spending 4, you'd bite their hand off.
Aye, no, I agree with you.
I think if somebody offered us 8, we'd bite their hand off, to be honest.
Yep.
But I don't know.
I'm talking about Defoe there. I don't think Defoe will be here next season. I don't think he can offer any more than he's offered this season. I think we'll have to go with, we either have to bring somebody else in or go with what we've got. We need younger players, but hopefully Morelos stays because, like Ross said, he's still the main man in the team at times because everything goes through him. Because when he's not there, we try to play the same way we can because you've not got anybody is similar to Morelos the way he plays. You've got Atton, you've got Roofe, you've got Defoe, but are not similar to Buff because he holds the ball up well, he rolls defenders, he creates, he can score goals. And these players they can't hold the ball up for that long because they're not that type of footballer. So I think we will have to look for another big striker. I don't think I could do either.
See, if we switched every now and again, I could see Atton and Roofe being a good pairing. Big guy, little guy, kind of strike. You know what I mean? Because the boy Atton, for me, looks good with the ball at his feet. I know he knows if he's just a big target man. Maybe they two playing as a two, but we don't play it.
No, we don't.
We play 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1. That's how we play, and I love that about us. We don't switch our play because we're coming up against a good side or we're coming up against a better. We just play the way we play, and we've got faith in our system, and everybody knows how it works. And again, I just don't think he fits into that system.
I know. I think to be honest with you, if you take Morelos and Kent out of our side, we could switch it because they're the two players that make us tick. I know Booth. I don't know a lot of them get a lot of abuse, but you watch Ryan Kent at times. I know you've got Wright, you've got Hadji, you've got Aribo, but they've not get the burst of speed or the quality that Kent's got. I mean, on Sunday against Celtic, he sent Scott Brown back to 90s with some of the terms. Scott Brown down where he was at times, do you know what I mean? And I mean, mean, nobody else can do that, but Kent does that all the time, and I'm actually worried in case he goes, because he's one of the players I think an English team could pick up, because he could do it in the Premiership. Maybe not for a top six side, but he could do it in the Premiership.
I don't think Kent would want to go. I mean, remember when Leeds came in from last year, they very quickly said, "Look, you aren't selling him anyway. He doesn't want to leave." So we can't force a guy to leave. I don't think we'd want him to leave. No. And I mean, before we got Ryan Kent, he was on loan. He was on loan deals all over the place. He'd been on loan for about 5 years from Liverpool in various different places, and he came to us, and he was desperate to sign for Rangers.
Yeah.
And it was him that pushed the deal through. So I don't think he's in any hurry to leave, and I don't think he's a player that's going to motivated by money. Because how much money does a young guy need? I think he'll stay here as long as we want him. Yeah. To be perfectly honest, because he gets it. He seems to love it. And I'm happy to keep him.
Well, that's us just about finished, guys, for the night. I know the game wasn't the best game. We spoke about some of it because there wasn't a lot to speak about, right enough, because it was all finished one each, but there wasn't a lot to speak about. But we spoke about the players and Sundays. I don't want to go too much into Sunday's game, even though we did, because there'll be another pod coming up for Sunday. So just to say thanks tonight for joining me, Ross, and thanks, Wilf.
Thanks.
I know, brother. Sorry, I was a bit preoccupied at the start. I was watching the ladies' game, but we won't go into that because they got beat.
That's all right. And thanks everybody for joining in, and I'll see you all soon. See you later.
Cheers, guys.